I'm Mark Wilson, the engineering heretic, and this is my BMW E46 318i. It's just the simple 1.9 litre single overhead cam engine. It's just a regular four-door, and of all the cars that I've ever driven, this is one of my favourites, oddly enough. I do have a 323Ci coupe here. It has a straight 6 variable valve double overhead cam. It's a two-door coupe, and I love two-door coupes, but it drives well, but it's not as good as this. And the reason why I like this car is because it's so simple. I think the origins of my love affair with four-cylinder engines comes from the Ford Cortinas and the Escorts with the 2-litre overhead cam engine, and it sort of taught me that if you get it right with the 2-litre engine on a reasonably smallish sort of car, it will perform incredibly. Now, the Cortina and the Escort did lousy. It was just hopeless with a automatic transmission, because back then there was no lockout torque converters and things like that, and you lost so much power in the transmission that the car was basically useless. But in the 4-speed and the 5-speed manual, those cars were absolutely incredible. Now, that's the 70s. This car here was made at about the year 2000, and it has basically a very similar engine to the 2-litre Cortina and Escort engines. This is a chain drive engine. Oddly enough, there's a huge amount of room in the engine bay here. It looks like it'd make the car about 6 inches shorter and it'd still be fine, but they're stuck with the model here. It does come out with a variable valve double overhead cam engine, but in my opinion, I don't think it's worth it. I reckon this car here is just fantastic. It's like modern engines. It runs with probably a Bosch system that for running the thing. There's no carburetor anymore. One of the things that I hear a complaint about this car very often is they say the car is gutless when you put your foot down. And yes, it's a 4-cylinder engine. This is an automatic transmission, and it's a rather good one. But what the problem is usually is this thing here, which is the MAF sensor. And when it breaks down a little bit, it fails to give the correct information to the engine as it's sucking in the air. And consequently, a low res when you're starting off the lights and things like that, it does make it a bit gutless. And you think the engine's just tired and dead and stuff like that, and it doesn't give a code or anything like that, so it doesn't tell you the thing's wrong. But if you just change that, I paid $40 for one of those on eBay for a brand new one, put it in, and it solved all my problems. So the car works fine. At the moment, this does have a problem. When I got this put on the road, when I replaced the tyres, I got a wheel alignment done, and they told me that these particular components here, which is the back support for the front suspension thing, these were a little tired. So I'm going to change this particular component here, these ones here. They're front and back. They're just back behind the wheel back in here, and I'll have to jack the car up and take the front wheels off the ground to do it. And a few other things about this car. It's of course, I'd prefer a 2-door coupe because I love 2-door coupes, but this is a 4-door. It has a very light aluminium suspension component, so that it feels really, it responds very quickly to bumps and things like that. When you get that feeling when you drive this car, I think they call it sheer driving pleasure from BMW, but I think that's what they're talking about. Just a wonderful, quite a basic engine that runs really, really well. It's a rear-wheel drive. I think the guy from one of the programs mentioned that BMW, as far as BMW is concerned, that front-wheel drive is nothing short of the work of Satan, and I'm kind of a one to agree with that. It's just a nice car, and we're going to go and fix this particular suspension component. So I've got the wheels off, and the component itself, this is the front rotor, this is the left hand side. The suspension itself, the lower wishbone here, it's a McPherson strut. This is the lower control arm here. As the car brakes, there's a lot of force pushing it that way, and it's pivoted back here on a swivel thing back there, which is, I think it's a greased joint there. But the main force of the entire suspension as it's pushing that way is triangulated to this particular bush here, and this is the part that's worn out. The front end guys told me this is a bit tired, so we're going to change it. So I need to remove this cross member here, which is just bolted to the undercarriage of the car. Take these bolts out here. That will allow that to drop down, and you can just slide these off. It's just an aluminium casting, and that just slides off, and you push the next one on and bolt the thing up, and you're good to go. I will have to get another realignment done because it does change the position of the front end when you change that, so it's a good idea to get the front end realigned. So another $50 for the realignment, but better than wrecking a new set of tyres. So I'll get to work and pull this cross member off, take these bolts out here. I haven't got 3 sets of hands to hold the camera at the same time, but you'll have to go with me. It's just not that difficult to do. And I've got the car up on jack stands underneath here. Where are they? There they are there. And of course I've got a secondary safety thing there. So if the car does fall off the jack stands, it'll land on here, because I don't want to become a statistic. So I've removed that cross member. It's just on the ground here. It's just a triangular thing which links up the subframe to the suspension components, basically. I've undone the bolts here to get this part off, and you see here I've just got to try to move that there. It's just quite, it floats around quite easily here, so it's obviously worn out, and it's just a matter of sliding it off here. They're quite tight on this particular part of the suspension component, but you can get that off, and sometimes a little bit of spray of WD-40 on the new one as you slide it on. It doesn't do much damage to the urethane anyway, and it just makes it easier to go on. So I'll whip that off and put this back up together again on both sides, and basically that should fix the job, and I'll take it down to the wheel alignment people and get another wheel alignment. So I've got these new parts in there. They are in there like that. There's a lot of work trying to shove the rubber grommet thing back up. How would I do it? Trying to push this thing back up in here and get these bolts on was a little bit difficult. Took a bit of forcing around and feeling around to get it done. But the job's done, and both sides are right, and now all I have to do is get the wheels back on, get down on the ground, and take it off and get a wheel alignment done. I'm Mark Wilson, and thanks for watching.